What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Always great to hang out with you guys. It's been a minute. Let's just jump right in. This is probably the most requested, by far, the most requested, build out of anything I've ever done on my channel. The engine, and it's crazy. And I'm not sure why, but I understand why. I kind of get it. I mean, this thing just not only looks cool, it's pretty functional. Couple things, though. Let's go ahead and start off with exactly what I'm going to be building today. The way I'm going to build. Down. Hey! Please forgive me. G is very, very riled up. He's taking most of my time. That's where I've been. Doing the G-Dog dance. Call him the Great G-Dini, man. Put him in his kennel, so when we go to work or whatnot, and this dog breaks out every single time, and I just don't understand. We got him all figured out now. A little learning curve. And, but anyway, here we go. If you hear some background noise, that's who it is. It's my man G, dude. G, that's my dude. So, here's what we're using today. This is a fused Clapton 28 gauge wrapped with 6 wraps around a 2.5 millimeter driver. And also I have kinked the legs ever so slightly here. Let me go and twist this so you can see. I essentially just wanted the legs kind of lining up with each other. Does it have to be perfect? No, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just helps with how I'm going to build this. Dual coil, of course. And 6 wraps, there it is. That's exactly what we're going to be using today. I'll grab my other, throw them both right here in my tenderfoot stand. If you want a tenderfoot stand, there's always a link in the description where you can pick these up. You can actually buy these instead of his Facebook page, which is, a lot of people don't do Facebook, man. I get that 100%. Totally get that. You can get them at Sub Tank Supply, I believe. So, if you're looking for a tenderfoot stand, you can get them at Sub Tank Supply. Spinning this, as you can see, I only have the 2 eyelets open. This is kind of the way I favor it. However, let me be very clear. I have done it just regular way, and it was just fine. The reason I like to use both top eyelets on this one, not only is it top airflow, but it gets my leads really nice and out of the way for tucking the coil, the cotton, into these pockets down here. Now, as you can see, when we're looking at something like this, there you go. I mean, these are just massive wick holes. Very big. I mean, when you compare these to pretty much anything out there on the market, this is, when you see something this big in the deck, this isn't a place to finesse it. This is a place to really get cotton in there. I don't put enough that it touches all the way down to the bottom. Definitely not. Remember, kind of like the theorem, I want juice to slosh completely underneath every single wick that might be poking in here. I just want it to go in and fill this top completely. See, it's not very thick. We just want to fill that hole, but not go all the way down to the bottom. That's key to great wicking in this. If you jam a bunch of cotton in here and you go all the way down to the bottom, you're going to have a few dry hit issues, that's for sure. In my experience with it. The engine from OBS. Thread it back on. Obviously, we're going to talk quite a bit more about wicking as we get going. Let me grab my pick, make sure I got all my tools here with me. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. I'm going to move this tool here. I'm going to go ahead, just freehand, I'm going to take it and pop it right in. First one in. Just kind of snug it up in there. I'm just going to kind of put it in there for now. I just got it in there just where it's kind of holding itself. And now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give it a little extra effort here. Just a little snug. And now I'm going to lay these leads right on top. I'm hoping this will show up in the shot here. There we go. I'm laying it right over top of the other legs that I've already installed in here. And I'm just going to seriously sit here and, at this point, we're kind of loaded in there. They're kind of doing their own thing. But you can grab the leg here, just gently pull forward and inch it, just barely move it in. Now, I'm even quite a bit in here. I want to get pretty close to those posts, not too close. about there though is where I like it. This one right here. So let's see if we can duplicate that on this side. Just a touch more. Not bad. I think I'm going to take that. And as you can see by kinking those legs, they're already sitting pretty even here. And underneath the coils, you see it's just completely empty of legs or anything like that. And that's why I like to use the top. And anytime I have top airflow, the one thing I do want to do is lift those coils up towards that airflow. Awesome. So now that we got the coils in here, and as you can see, we haven't used a driver or anything like this. We just kind of use our fingers there and just kind of inch it in. So now I'm going to simply take my fingers here. I'm going to hold right in front of each coil. And I'm going to snug up one side. Just till it's holding it. Spin it. And repeat. Now this is where I'm going to look. I'm seeing an issue already right off the bat. The distance on this one right here. Looking at it, I think we're going to move that in just a touch. I can just kind of see in the end product we're going to be pretty far out there. I don't want it that far. I want it nice and close here. Always close, but without touching. Use my tweezers. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and snug that up. And like I said, I just always pull on my legs, the legs of the coil. Again, I'm going to loosen this up, keep my fingers on those coils. Always be mindful of your coils themselves. You really want a nice round circumference on these, always, as much as you possibly can at least. Now I'm going to come through here and I'm just going to do a little more tightening up. I'm actually kind of going to go almost full bore here. That one's pretty tight, if you ask me. That one's really tight too, and that's great. Legs, I'm clipping my legs now. Anytime you're clipping your legs, you want to get it pretty close here, but you want to just be really mindful of that you're clipping the right wire. Right? And the thing is, like, if you need to go a little bit longer on the leg, that's fine. Just, it's all about making sure you clip the right wire here. Because, cut that off. Because what I always like to do is, see how the legs, the remnants here are just kind of like these little sharp little edges? Your cotton gets all snagged on that. So what I like to do is take a tool, anything really works here, and I like to push it right up against the posts. Just the natural way it's moving, you'll kind of feel it. I need to clip that. Kind of the natural way it's moving, and you'll kind of feel it, or notice it's kind of running towards one certain direction, and that's kind of the way I push my leads in. Number one rule about building, it doesn't have to be pretty to work. By any means. But you do have to build smart. Build safe. I'm still seeing a little gap issue on this side, but you know what? I'm going to be just fine. I think this is going to turn out just fine. So now that we have everything mounted, we have our screws tight, we have our legs pushed against our posts, we can start to really form these back into a nice tight micro coil. So I'm going to insert my driver here, and I'm just going to give it a little gentle push to one side. Let me get on this side here. And then I'm going to insert the driver on this side. And I'm going to use my finger to push against the coil as I push the driver towards the center. That's just going to keep it really nice and tight. And I'm just aiming for the middle for now. Just like that. It's a good way to tighten up that coil. Let's do it again. So first I'm going to come in here, give it a nice little push till it tightens up. I just kind of snugged it over. Driver out. Driver in. And pressure. Just like that. So we're pretty well even, and how I know I'm centered is I look kind of from the top down, and I want to place the whole length of this coil in between these two juice pockets here. So I can see I'm going to come in on this side here. This is going to be a little easier for me, and just give that a little nudge. That's the thing about micro coils is they're very malleable. You know, you can really move these things around. Yeah, this one as well. That's great. Got it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off the stand and keep my leads close here. Don't want to lose those. So now I'm going to go ahead and what I want to do with these, is I want to lift my coils so the top of the coil is flush with the top of the eyelet only. That's how high I want my coils to be. That's about dang even right there. And I'm going to show you an example of right where I want these. Because you do have to be careful with the engine or any RTA that you build, because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want your coils touching the top. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Let's go ahead and take a look in here. So as we look inside, you can see that they've notched it. See that big notch in there where they milled that out, and it's a step now? Now, I'm not sure why they did that. I'm going to guess because of the posts. I'm guessing in the version, maybe the posts were touching this, which is no good. So what they decided to do is just mill this out. Maybe it was to boost that airflow down the side of the barrel. I don't know. But the airflow holes themselves are really on the outside here. I'm catering to this. I have my coils moved in. So here's your airflow. I move my coils right into about there. That's where I want my coils to sit at. Airflow is going to come in, dragged around, hit the coils, and then back up through the chimney there. So, if our posts are going to be sitting here and here, and we have that step here, what does that tell us? The maximum we should be lifting our coils, the absolute maximum, is the top of this post. Because this is obviously really close to the top there. I really believe that's why they milled that out. So, the top of the eyelet here, see that? Just very top, that's where I want the top of. I want to line up the top of this coil with the top of that eyelet. And I know I'm good and I'm safe. Nice and flat going across. They're suspended, not touching anything. They're just suspended in there. So that turned out pretty good in my opinion. I'm happy with that at least. And that's where they're both at. I'm really happy with this. Anytime you make adjustments, I want to come through and give another tight. Give it just one more little snug. It's very important that your screws are snug here. And in anything you build, you really want to put some pressure on those screws. And that's it. Good, yeah, it looks good in the viewfinder. Pretty well centered. Centered enough for me at least. You know, when we look at it from this way, they're sitting right between the two posts, and they're pretty well lined up with those juice ports there. Alright, let's go ahead and grab a device here and get strumming this thing out. Get them firing evenly. Zoom you in. There we go. So here we are. We got it all zoomed in. I have it on the Rollo. It's reading at 0.14 right now. This is all nichrome 80. The only wire that I use and I trust and I just love is Humble Wick and Wire and there's a link in the description. This is by far my favorite wire. By far. By leaps and bounds. There we go. So 0.14, it always will measure low. As the resistance sets, we're going to get a little bit different reading. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That really turned out. So I got it at 43 watts. Let's go ahead and pulse. It's the first thing we're going to do. We're just going to hit the button. Won't see much of that going on. There we go. Now one thing we're going to see is we're going to start to see some decent glowing here on the legs. There we go. And I'm just going to pulse this just for a second here. And then give it a little pinch. And they seem pretty tight. I don't think there's going to be too much shaping here. Strum it out. Those colors, man. Jeez, it's just beautiful. So, strum it out. Nudge. Hold. I can see that, you know, that one coil kind of a little sloppy. There we go. Same with this one. Give that one just a slight nudge. There we go. Hold that there. Pretty good. So they're glowing pretty evenly for me. I'm pretty happy with that. That one. There we go. Much better. Good. All right. Now it's reading 0.21. It should jump to around 0.22, 0.23, 0.21. Not bad at all for this. That's kind of where I like the engine. Nice and hot here. Please be careful when you're taking it off your mod. Anytime you fire an atomizer. All right. So while that's cooling down, again, let's talk a little bit more about wicking the engine. Very easy to do here. Very, very simple. And I kind of found a good spot to cut your wicks so that it hits pretty much every single time. So I have my cotton here. This is where you insert your favorite cotton, whether it's Japanese cotton. It's all the same. All cotton is not created equal. I shouldn't say that. I definitely shouldn't say that. However, the wicking process I have found to be the same with pretty much everything that I've been using. So let's go ahead and load it in. I'm going to just gently pull, and I can feel resistance right here. From the coil and the cotton, I can feel the resistance right here. So I'm simply going to take the cotton, right? And I'm going to stretch the cotton out and then slide it through. Right? So, stretch it out, slide it through. Here we go. Stretch it, slide it through. There we go. So where do I cut it? Just on the inside of the edge of the deck. Let's see if that's looking. Just flush or just on the inside, but about right there. I could even go a little shorter. Matter of fact, I'm just going to give this a nudge here. That's good. You want your coil full of cotton and it puffy coming off the outside. Let's do it again. You can see right there. Try and get as even with the outside of this as you can. Let's do it again. Twist this one up a little snugger here. There we go. So I just put in the point, pull it until I feel resistance, and you should feel it right there. Stretch it, pull it through. There we go. There we go. A little puffy on that one side, but you know what? We're going with it. Can't always be perfect. Puffy is good. Alright. Got it wicked up. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off because it's a lot easier for me to do. And I know a lot of other people really like this way. So it's as simple as this. Those holes on the bottom. Take your cotton. Tuck it right in. That's it. That's it. Let's do it again. Done. Let's do it again. Now at this point, after just kind of popping them in that, I mean, they're very generous, man. Those holes are very generous. It's very easy just to pop in that cotton. At this point, now if you don't want to get all kind of like I do, I get very particular about how my cotton's sitting. It's a good habit to have, but not everybody has that kind of time, right? You can leave it like this and just go. You can just fill it, go. You're going to get great wicking. But I want you to notice something. There is no cotton touching the bottom of this base anywhere. There's a good shot at it. Juice can run all underneath this deck. That's exactly what I want. Now I'm going to come through here and I'm just going to do a little extra smoothing out. I want a nice straight cascade right into that hole. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain. I want it to just cascade out of the coil smoothly down into that hole. I want a nice smooth path for my juice to run. So I'm just going to come in here. Like I said, this is that really puffy one. This one's going to take a little finesse. And always be wary of your coils here. We know they're glowing evenly. So the last thing we want to do at all here is, catch an edge with your pick and just jank them all up and start all over again. I've done that. And it's not very fun. So there's that nice cascade. I'm really happy with that. Awesome. Let's go ahead and throw it on the mod now. Grab your favorite juice. Got some chasing the fog here. There we go. Where is it? Oh, where'd it go? Oh, of course it's away. One sec. Alright. Put the mic back on here. So, this is what you want to do. What I like to do at least, and I want to get the whole core of this cotton really juicy, and that can really form my cotton to exactly how I want it. So, they're both dry, right? And take your juice, put a glob on each one, and then fire the mod. See how it sucked it right in? And I'm going to continue to do that. Until I can see that the cotton is very, very juicy here. Very good. Now I see this juicy. And I'm just going to take care of these frillies. I'm just going to comb it, really. Because when I put this on, when I put the top onto this tank, I don't want to worry that this little frilly caught a thread and pulled out of my coil or whatnot. I want to be sure. And that's all this is for me. This is me making sure that my cotton's right where I want it. I know right where it is. And I never have to second guess it. I want to do it once. And this is what I like to do. But by no means do you ever have to do this. Try and keep that better in the shot for you. There we go. So I kind of just cleaned up that kind of frilly mess, if you will. I mean, there's still some. This camera picks up quite a bit of stuff. But to the, to the naked eye, it's not so bad. There we go. Excellent. Next up, the top. Let's talk about the top for a second here. Now, this barrel spins freely, as you can see here. So what I like to do is I like to take this notch and line it right up with the outside. Show you again. Line it up with the outside right there. Line it up with that kind of a pillar, if you will, or and that helps me to, hold on, I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. This. Excellent. And what I like to do is I like to line this up with the notch that's on the deck. See that notch? So I just simply line up that pillar right on top. There we go. Just like that. It kind of makes the best of a bad situation. Definitely a flaw on the engine is what I just showed you. The way that notch hits. Yeah, definitely a flaw for me. There's no really markers here, but you know, it makes the best out of a bad situation. It really does. It, you know, just pop that off, line it up with one of the pillars here. And you just take that pillar, just like that. Hopefully that'll make things a little easier for you if you have the engine. Grab your favorite drip tip. I am so unprepared today, man. It's been a while. Jeez. Grab your favorite drip tip. Probably the rarest Mink Machine drip tip ever made right here. The Piston Mini. Bam. That's it. So, let's talk about filling this thing. That classic, it's got the little watermark here. That classic top fill. So how I like to fill it is I like to hold it straight up here. Get right in the corner here. I find that if you just go straight on, right in the center of the hole to fill, get right in that corner of that hole, really get back there, and then start to fill it. And then as it starts to come up the side, on my side it's really starting to come up. As you get near the top, go ahead and lay it down on its side. Gives you a little more room. And when it gets to the top, let off the bottle. Suck up the rest of it. And just simple. Now, I've seen a lot of other companies do... Okay, we'll talk about all that in the final thoughts, man. If you have... Oh, geez. I'm like, it's leaking. What the... I just got a little juice on my glove. I was like, what? If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email me at tjvapingreviews at AOL.com or simply comment down below. Hopefully you can join me for final thoughts. That was funny. Hopefully you can join me for final thoughts. Always a pleasure, my friends. Talk to you soon. Join CASA to find out what you can do in your city and state to help fight for your right to vape. Spread the good word, man. You know, enough infighting. Let's spread the good word. Let's do this. Blessings, my friends. See you at final thoughts.